People start screaming when they see who breached security as Trump entered White House. Here's what they had. For close to a year, the left has been throwing a temper tantrum ever since Donald Trump was elected as president last November. These rabid Democrats have been doing everything they can in an attempt to derail the Trump administration from being a success. Ever since Trump was inaugurated, the left has been obsessed with finding ways to remove Trump from office. Top Democrats Loretta Lynch and failed vice presidential candidate Tim Kaine both have called for violence in the streets. Then there is Maxine Waters, who continually pushes for Trump's impeachment, and, of course, the mainstream media fanning the flames of division with shoddy reporting. So, today, when President Trump was walking to a meeting to discuss tax reform with Republican leaders, all chaos broke out. A progressive protester somehow infiltrated the press pool and began to shout at President Trump as he walked with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and threw Russian flags. The protester was reported to scream, "Trump is treason," and other inflammatory questions that were all taken from the liberal talking points. Here are several videos of the crazed protester in action. Protester yelling "Trump is treason" tosses Russian flags at President Trump as he arrives at Senate GOP luncheon.
I was just a few feet away from him. His name is Ryan Clayton. He's with a group that he calls Americans Take Action, and he was able to get within feet of the president and throw a handful of miniature Russian flags in his way as the president entered the Capitol and headed into his luncheon with Republicans. Very unusual to see a protester be able to get that close to the president, but this is the same man who threw a large Russian flag in the way of Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, back in July when he was here on Capitol Hill to meet with Senate intelligence investigators. In both cases, he appeared to just camouflage himself essentially by showing up in a big group of reporters so he didn't attract any attention, and then stepping out of that group right when the president and when his son-in-law came into the frame and was led away after this incident by police after shouting "Trump is treason."
Yeah, he showed up in a suit too, kind of surprised all of us there.
Here it is. Protester tosses Russian flags at President Trump as he arrives at Senate GOP luncheon yelling "Trump is treason." After the attack, many people wondered who was this rude man and how in the world did he manage to get so close to the president. Well, now we know who this liberal lunatic is, and it all makes perfect sense now. As it turns out, the protester is Ryan Clayton, who happened to be the president of Americans Take Action. And this is not his first time creating controversy. Earlier this year, Clayton tricked several conservatives that attended CPAC into waving Russian flags while Trump spoke. Also, Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe stated that Ryan Clayton is a well-known agitator who once harassed one of his female reporters. Ryan Clayton, the guy who was just arrested on national TV, once accosted and verbally harassed a young female. One of my undercover reporters tweeted O'Keefe. Ryan Clayton, the guy who was arrested, yeah.
In every investigation, there is the chance that we can be compromised. And by the end of this meeting, it was obvious that we had been set up by Clayton.
I'm gonna be leaving.
In our push for the truth, we made a few enemies who don't appreciate us uncovering their lies. Last October, we caught Bob Kramer from Democracy Partners and his fellow colleagues admitting to inciting violence at Trump rallies. And they must still be bitter about it because when our journalist walked out of the meeting with Clayton, Lauren Windsor, a Democracy Partners associate, was waiting.
You work for James O'Keefe, right? Have you been to the Ray Farm too? Are you hooking up with him? Is he your boyfriend? Is James your boyfriend?
What you're about to see is frightening, abusive, and totally without provocation. Ryan Clayton and Lauren Windsor and several cohorts proceed to scream sexual allegations and generally verbally assault our young female reporter for 20 minutes, following her down the streets in Washington, D.C.
Let me ask you a question. What does it feel like to work for a convicted criminal, a liar, and an alleged molester? What does that feel like? Is it a good job? I just want to know, what's it like to work for a liar, a convicted criminal, and an alleged molester, James O'Keefe? What is that like?
Are you kidding me?
You're like, hey, Mom and Dad, I work for an alleged sex molester. Is that like fun?
At one point, Clayton followed her into a cab, uninvited, after the young...
I have to cut in. He's calling James O'Keefe a sexual... Oh my, what a deranged human being.
female reporter continuously asked to be left alone.
And they can for you? Oh, hey.
Hi, can I please get in? Oh, you're not getting in a taxi. I'm literally being attacked right now. There are so many people with cameras following me, and they're like got in my taxi.
Do you think it's a Christian thing to do? To lie about who you are? I told you who I actually am when I actually am.
They're getting in the taxi with me. Like I can't.
Hey, I just want to say one thing to the person on the phone.
Can you please move on to my wedding?
My, they are ill. They are actually ill, these people. According to The Intercept, Clayton was also involved in a high-profile incident with conservative provocateur James O'Keefe when Clayton secretly filmed O'Keefe's speech at a fundraiser and then interrupted it by breaking into song. Clayton was then dragged down the steps and tossed from the event. Here, more from the Daily Caller. A protester managed to breach security at the Capitol building Tuesday as President Donald Trump arrived for a lunch with Republican senators to talk tax reform. The protester, who some reporters have identified as Ryan Clayton, the president of Americans Take Action, began yelling from within the press gaggle before throwing Russian flags on the floor as Trump passed. Trump is treason, Clayton yelled. This is not about tax reform. Chad Pergman, Trump management with McConnell before lunch. Person ID'd as Ryan Clayton makes it into press area, shouts Trump is treason, and throws Russian flags. It is unclear how Clayton was able to make it into the press area. He would need valid press credentials in order to get past Capitol security. That's a very unusual breach of decorum for us to experience here, MSNBC's Casey Hunt said. Andrea Mitchell confirmed the president was walking down the corridor right off the Senate floor on the second floor of the Capitol, one of the most secure places in Washington. We saw something we've never seen here before. Capitol Police took hold of Clayton after he began yelling and escorted him away from the press gaggle. Clayton was previously kicked out of the 2017 Conservative Political Action Conference after he distributed Russian flags to attendees. Reporters noted that Clayton was also spotted with the press gaggle earlier this morning when Senator Bob Corker was being interviewed about President Donald Trump. Video protester posing as journalist throws papers at Trump, it's actually the flags, as he arrives for Senate GOP lunch, yelling Trump is treason. This same protester was caught standing behind Senator Bob Corker during one of his media scrums this morning. It's evident that Clayton is no stranger to creating this sort of chaos in events, and somehow he is able to get into the press pool. Something is not adding up here, right? In the next week, the violent group Antifa is planning to take Trump and Pence out of the White House by force on November 4th. So, with that being said, wouldn't it stand to reason that security would be at an all-time high to protect the president? One would think. Yet, Clayton, who has a history of combative tactics, was able to walk right into the White House and shout that Trump is treason and throw Russian flags. At this point, it is clear that those in charge are not putting Trump's best interest first, which does give cause for concern. Hopefully, this incident will prompt the Secret Service to up their game in protecting the President of the United States from crazed protesters as well as from violent liberal groups. Absolutely. This all is taking place because the Democrats have been caught. Hillary has been caught in her schemes, and that's basically why they're going crazy at this point. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and again, thank you so much for watching.